Okay, I seen a video. Gene DeSala. Keep on listening. Dominique Fils, birds. Now, I hope they're angry birds. I like angry birds. Birds. Okay. So realistically, it'd be 2-channel, going through a matrix decoder, or if you want to call it an upmixer, which is only taking signal from the front, left, right, and then goes and does other weird things with the surrounds. Like the Dolby DSU is crap because it adds in a back surround channel, but with partly some of the signal coming from the front center going through, and you can hear it in the back. Pretty damn distracting, if I must say. When you use a dtsx, it almost like behaves almost like Dolby PL2X, which adds in a discrete, not kind of like a matrix extension onto the side surround, because the way PL2X works, when you switch that on, it extends the surround channel, so it's looking at the split stereo surround signal on 5.1 or 7.1. Well, if it was 7.1, you don't need the bit, but 5.1, it adds in and gives it a little bit more sound pan to go through the sides and then round, the sides, and then back around and panning, rather than a single monaural signal. It gives a little bit more. So I suppose if you put on the movie Mission to Mars, and you get this camera slowly moving around looking at the crew, and then you got this sound that's panning on the screen, because it's like what typically, I suppose, what Brian De Palma wants to say, oh yeah, I want this effect. And so you get the camera moving, and then you hear this guy talking on the screen. So it's if I was listening to a single sound coming from a spot in the room, and then just gradually turn my head or turn around just to rotate slowly. Yeah. But the way you hear it in the movie is a little bit different, because of the way they're isolating certain sound, and if there's an auditorium, it might have slight reflective echo effect because of the auditorium. In my room, I've got absolute zero echo because everything's absorbed. But this recording, okay, I'm gonna give it a listen to. Frankly, I'll give it a little listen to in just 2-channel at the moment. I think just 2-channel for the meanwhile. And so I've got to go on the AVR, switch that up to stereo mode. I'll stop the video and then I'll go back to the listening. Okay, I'm just listening to 2-channel stereo on my left center, right center. So I've got a 5-screen speaker. So I thought I'll just put it on the left center, right center, just like a cinema would do in some cinemas, where I've got to run a CP200 and all the, So I got a nice, absolute 100% firm, nice, spot on center phantom. So a lot of pluck on that bass, the big so the bass is going on my JBL 46, the bass and the HF horns.
Is it right on time? Could it be right on? If the crow said it right, we could move out.
That bit there, they're using a bit of an effect on the mix to give it a kind of phasey.
If the crow said it right, we could.
Whoa! But it sounds like it's spreading out wide. And believe me, the screen channels behind my screen, which is very tight, and usually most people say, oh golly, usually you don't get good sound that way. Believe me, I spent hours and hours testing and all that. I occasionally go through my HF horns again. I'll retune them. Try this way, try that way. I orientate the microphone around, because every speaker's in a different position in three-dimensional space across the front of the AT screen, behind the AT screen, and looking at, and try and get the tonal characteristic of the HF horn to be almost the same as possible, but it's not going to be that way, because when you move around in physical 3D space, pink noise is going to change its tonality. There's no way you can avoid it, unless you've got some super duper room and you got super duper time, and you don't have a wife, you don't have a girlfriend, and you can spend as much time as you want until you're blue in the bloody face. But listening to that Bix there, I know they're using some sort of an effect processor, and it's creating a nice, and just give you an idea. If I mount the camera, to zoom out, my left channel is about there, in that position there. My left center is in about that position there. My center is in that position. My right center is about that position, and my right channel over there. Of course, I could turn the light on, but it's only gives me a guidance to say roughly where I can see the HF horns, and the HF horns are a little bit up. I really would prefer if I can lower my stage down by about 8 inches. That'll bring it down a little bit, and then I can tilt the HF horn a little bit more downward. But as where they are, as long as I get the tuning, as long as the microphone can pick up the frequency response and orientate it around and move it, and I know what the characteristic of the frequency response is like, and to get it tuned so I get high frequencies, so you can perceive them. Not that it's going to be very easy on the very high frequencies. That will need greatly amplified and tuning, and got to be very careful about doing that. But still, I get nice good sound, say like Star Trek 2, the Wrath Calm turbo door elevators going shh and then shh, and that sort of sound. But as to this, panning of the effects processing used on the mix, and it creates that effect with these upmixer matrix decodering on the overhead surround. Yeah, each one's slightly different than the other. You could put pink noise through, which is more better to evaluate. Then you can put it up on an output, then into the RTA analyzer, and then you can see what that frequency curve looks like. That's if the decoder can extract that signal. Sometimes you need a pink noise signal that's kind of like stereo-ish. It's got a kind of, phasing difference in the signal, and then that signal will get picked up, and then the decoders will see that signal. I could use the multi-stereo mode output, and that will send pink noise everywhere. That's what I usually use to test and EQ all the system one bit at a time. Okay, so I'll go back to the recording of this. Just back it up a few seconds. Wow. It almost reminds me of a Madonna track, Vogue, where they use an effect process, and where she says Vogue, and it creates this whoa. Frankly, I just prefer listening to channel, but I'll switch over to the upmixer now. Okay, I've just activated all my height channels, because sometimes if I don't want them on, I'll just switch them all off on the ADR's speaker configuration and all that. So I'll just hit finalize, and I would hear a relay switching clicking on this. If I put the microphone near, probably the microphone picks up a little click sound. So I'll just pause that a sec. I'll mount the camera. camera's more or less middle of the room. And for my overhead surround, as you probably know, I use a special modification I made myself. I amaze me myself, you know, because basically overheads, when they play native discrete, they are basically stereo overhead, height 1, height 2, height 3. They are stereo pair speakered. Sometimes you get a signal that's so narrow in the mix, you know, like I listen to Star Trek upmix native, it sounds like a stem track sort of a thing. I listened to that, like, you know, the Jar Jar Abrams Star Trek, the first one, though that was originally only a 6-channel mix, and they did a Atmos up, you know, to sell more hot cakes. When I listen to the end credits, when it goes into the end credit sequence, and I hear the music on height 1 only, I think, because it does vary in the mix where the sounds are panning and whatever. I hear the music and thinking, why does it sound like mono on the overhead height number 1? And it's playing mono-ish, monaural, because it's like having a Behringer DEQ, and it's got a stereo wide mode feature, and I believe some EQs had that sort of thing back in the 1980s and so forth. I think Tandy Realistic had something like in a stereo expander mode to give it a bit more, you know, which I think if you were to use that thing today, a few of those linked in with other matrix decodering and so forth, and then going into an audio mixer, so then you can then blend those channels into separate audio gear, and then so you got an additional modification overhead surround that's going to sound a heck of a lot better than this crap in the box DS upmixing sort of crap, because it is crap. Okay, so I'm just going to listen to this music again. Turn the fader up. I'll just back up. So it's only playing overhead surround at the moment. It sounds a bit shilly, a bit sharpish. So, you know, all the screen channels are all mute. It's just the overhead surrounds that have been picked up by the microphone. Not very accurate. If I wanted to get a little bit more accurate, I would plug it in a lead into one of my SDDS decoder on the headphone monitor output, and then I connect it up to the Sony Handycam, and then you would just hear a direct signal path of what that is sounding like. I could do that, but I just don't want to because I'm damn lazy and I've been up all goddamn day. Yeah, I hear a bit of ambient echo in the background, like it's anti-phasing. Because music is made up of layers of tracks, and then they are assembled into what they want to produce. Whether this exists in a 6-channel mix, you know, I don't know. Most compact discs you buy, crikey, for the price you pay for them to still, daylight robbery, I think, because you're still only getting 2-channel. What the heck's... What's wrong with 6-channel, for crying out loud? I remember when the DTS was producing compact discs back years ago, and you can get you know, 6-channel mixes, and they sound pretty damn cool because you can hear the individuality of the track, you know, of the left, the center, the right, the stereo surround, and occasionally the LFE. That's if, you know, if you get one. But all I'm hearing is just differences in the DSU, the Dolby Matrix upmixer matrix. So if I play the same thing and loop it over and over if I can, just find a point in the music. Okay, 50.
Crew said it right, we can move out, but don't early.
Okay, from about 59 second. Okay, so if I I'll stop the video because I've got to do the switch over to add in the Auro upmixer. Okay, I switched on the Auro mixer because you got to go into the amp assignment and switch on. Otherwise, it just stays in 2D mode, and then there it is. I've got 3D now as well as 2D mode. So I'll just butterfingers. I hate these bloody things. It's a lot easier with a professional cinema processor. You just press the format and you'll go instantaneous. Bumbling around with these bloody things, oh, pain in the arse. They should have put on the front panel here the formats for the bloody sound formats on the, so they'd touch soft key instant. There, fucking hell, farting around with these bloody things. You do that in professional cinema and you've got an audience there. Why are we waiting? Yeah, not good. Okay, so everything else is muted, so it's only going to still play on the overhead surround. So I'm playing from up to 58 second.
Crow said it right, we can move out, but don't early. Crow said it right, we can move out, but don't early.
It's a bit more like focus coming down on the, you know, because I use a matrix decoder connected to my height 1, height 2 and height 3, so the sound can just pan. And if the signal happens to be in the native mix and it's like, say for example the movie Ad Astra, you hear Brad Pitt, I hear his dialogue, narration, because they're mixing it partly in center and in the overhead. And he comes out my new VOG channel, or DOG, because I've got DOG 1 up there, there's DOG 2 right above me, and right over there is DOG 3, just like we say in Private Ryan. There's DOG 1, there's DOG 2, we've got to go over to that part of the beach. DOG 1, go, go, go. So my sound panning, the sound pannings in this room can just literally go this way, that way, and totally diagonal and cross in easily. It just depends where the mixer's going, and I don't get that center phantom freaking annoying sound. Oh dear. But oh, just about there. I can hear it in the matrix. It sounds, oh, just about there, about 1 minute, 5, 6 second. It sounds all distorted because the processing matrix it's going through and trying to filter sound, and the steering of the matrixing of the sound, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's not like I can hear it up there totally and then panning back. It doesn't do that unless you're playing a native mix, and depending on how the engineer is not being too overpaid and doing a lazy piss poor job like I've heard on some bloody mixes, and I'm thinking, oh dear, or is it just production value time that they got very little time and they got to do it very quickly, you know, and they think, oh gosh, couldn't we have done this better if we had more time and a bit more budget.
Could be right on. Move.
So I'll just go up to 53, 54, 56 second.
Crow said it right, we can move out, but don't early.
Okay, so I'll pause that and I'll go over to dtsx now. Okay, I switched in to dtsx. I had to go back into the amp assignment and switch out from 8-channel mode, because that when it activates the that then when it activates the auro3d. So I switched it all back to 6 channels overhead, height 1, height 2, height 3, which still works with DDSX, you know, that configuration. Oh, what was that? Oh, bit of a hiss effect there. Oh, I'm hearing a slight hiss effect. If I was going to entertain a friend, play a movie, whatever, because I noticed what some cinemas are now doing, because they got a Dolby CP850 in the you know, they're probably using that to play Dolby upmixed bloody 2-channel stereo music playing through all the speakers, or usually the Odeon downtown, they play this bloody obnoxious bloody preview thing before the film starts, and it's looping over and over and over. There's video of it on YouTube, and it would almost put you to sleep. It is so bloody effing boring. It's like, whatever happened to the day when cinema played non-sync music and would keep it at a low level and play it, say, on stage left and right, a typical 35mm cinema, or 35, you know, Dolby Digital, you know, so it can do SRD and all that jazz and so forth, with maybe a DDS processor in the rack. Or you go to a 70mm house and they're geared up for all occasion, and they might just play the music, the non-sync on stage left, centre, right centre, like what I can do, or they can play it on left and right. It depends on how you format the decoder. You just don't get the cinema experience downtown now is bloody rubbish, absolute rubbish. And they play advertisements so fucking loud. It's more louder than an actual movie would play 30 years ago. The state of cinema sound has gone down the fucking toilet because people expect it to be fucking loud. It ruins the entire fucking presentation. And when the bloody trailers start, fucking hell, that's going up even more fucking level on the fader, because it's automatic. They program, and the fader's probably adjusting, or the trailer mix itself is just too damn fucking deafening, and that's not uncommon. And then you get the fucking movie, or you get the Atmos trailer playing, and then I got to put the fucking earplugs in. That's just fucking stupidity, fucking ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do that. I don't know how anyone else can fucking tolerate it, because I know I can hear the sound coming off the HF horns and think, fucking hell. I mean, my HF horns can easily reach 120 dB, but they're played at an 85 dBA peak. That's fucking loud enough. Loud, exciting, and plenty enough. Yeah, and when the movie plays, fucking hell, I'm not even enjoying it. Out of 3 movies I've seen downtown, Fantastic Beast, I had to put my fingers in my ears because I left my earplugs at home. No Time to Die, or really, basically, no time to fucking listen to it, because I had to I lost track of how many times I put my earplugs in, and I couldn't stop fucking swearing. My friend beside me saying, stop swearing, please stop swearing. And I just did it on purpose, because I hope I offended the person in front of me and the people behind me, because the sound was fucking offending me. And then the last time I went was to see that stupid Marvel Disney garbage trash, Internals. And what really pissed me off was when they had this earthquake sequence in the movie, and I'm thinking back to when the ABC played Earthquake, 70mm 6-track sensor round for 79p, when I saw it in February 1975, and it was playing at the cinema since November 1974, and it played for nearly almost close to a year. That's when movies were movies. Not that this crap today, hard drive 4K crap, Atmos, and it plays a couple of weeks and it's gone and forgotten about. I just said, fuck it, I've had enough of this shit. Is this all the Atmos sound system that can do? Is that the amount of bass and sub-bass LFE it can do? And I thought, fuck it, I'm walking out. I've had enough of it. Because mostly it's all fucking top end. And I hardly feel it. Oh, I feel a little rumble, but I'm thinking, fucking hell, sensor round fucking was pressuring against my body. THX sound system at the Empire Leicester Square would put Sensurround in the bloody dust, because 70mm 6-track Dolby was better than Sensurround, because Sensurround is only a triggering device encoded on the film, and then it tells the Sensurround Mod 2 or Mod 3 processing box unit to activate and play this sound that's kind of, you sense it kind of going forward, backward, pressing into your body. It would put most home theatres to shame. Sadly mine as well, because Sensurround was a total different system entirely. And well, as far as the Empire Leicester Square goes, listening to Star Trek 3 The Search for Spock with the Genesis planet earthquake, fuck here now, the planet quake, frickin' heck. And then Captain Kirk kicking that Klingon in the face. I had enough of you, fucking hell. Against all the bass that's going on in the screen channel left and right, with a bit of bass rumble in the centre, and then the kick. Frickin' heck, I was feeling all that. 20 metres away from the screen. Perfect stereo separation. And the surrounds, and then the sub bass. It felt like almost, you know, miles better than anything else I've heard. Light years ahead. Anyway, I'm rambling. Oh, yuck. I didn't like that sound there in the mix. Oh, I could hear this like crackle sound. Oh, that's at about 52 seconds. And it's like a distortion sound, but it's not. It's the way the signal's getting anti-phased. And it's trying to filter it out. Oh, I don't like that. But it's not doing any damage. It's just on, because I can turn the fader down a little bit. And that's where it's affecting. So if I were to switch all that off, so I've got to go literally, so I'll just stop the video. Okay, I'll turn all the overhead surround off in the AVR. That's neither here or there. I'll just put that to stereo mode on the AVR, and then I'm going to switch in my left center, right center. Hopefully they'll be activated. Yep, I'll turn the fader level down a bit on here. Just turn that fader level down a bit.
Could be right on, too late or too early. Is it right on time? Could it be right on? If the crow said it right, we could move out by the...
Yeah, there, about 59 seconds. They're using an effect, you know, in the plug-in on the mixing cut. They're using an effect to give it a kind of whooshy sound. Yeah, because if she's vocaling, So it's most likely going into a single microphone, unless she's got 2 microphones or 3 or whatever, and she's going like this along the, you know, to get that whooshy, a natural, actual whooshy, you know. But it's using an effect processor, and that's what you're hearing on the overhead, and then the decoder's seeing where the signal of that is going, and it's, you would add the same sort of thing. Actually, I could just go to multi-stereo mode, and just play it on the side surround only, just the side surround. So I'll turn those off there. Turn my side surround on.
If the crow said it right, we can move out. But if the crow said it right, we can move out.
Okay. Mute that. It's a heck of a lot quicker than using a Storm audio. You got to go into this, click that. Bloody hell, I can do it a couple of seconds. But actually, saying that, I've got to go into the AVR now, because I've got to switch in the back surround channel, even though I'm using the multi-stereo, because I turned all the other channels off. So yeah, you don't win. It's still same shit, you know. So I've just got to scroll back down and turn on the back surround channel. I'll switch to large, thank you very much. I don't use any of that small speaker nonsense.
If the crow said it right, we can move out, but don't early.
Nice bit of bass on the back surround. And that pluck on the, you know, the bass mute, what's it, the big instrument plucking the string. It's like it's almost in the room. Not. Let's back it up a bit.
If the crow said it right, we can move out. If the crow said it right, we can move out, but don't early.
Wow, that's cool. And my stereo, my back stereo surrounds are right back there. I could actually switch in the so they'll play a middle centre back. I could switch that in.
If the crow said it right, we can move out.
Yeah.
If the crow said it right, we can move out, but don't.
A little bit different. Because the way it's looking at the phase of the signal and such. So, you know, I use that really for the equalizer. When he knocks on the Russian door, you hear him right down the middle of the room, as if it's perfectly aligned. And all the Russians on this side and that side turn this way and thinking, who's knocking on our door? Sputnik. Yeah. I could put the overhead surround on back again and just use the multi-stereo mode. So I'll just stop the video and then the next video will be. Okay, turn the overhead surround back on. I'm only going to use the multi-channel stereo mode, so it's just duplicating stereo up there, stereo there, stereo there. And I could switch a few of the channels off if I wanted to. I could switch 4 of them off on here. Preferably I wouldn't mind having another SDDS processor in the rack, but a bit taking up a bit of rack space, and I won't be able to use any DSP crossover management then. Oh well, can't always have your cake.
Early could be right on time. The crow said right on.
56 second, 57.
If the crow said it right, we can move out, but don't early.
That sounds kind of more natural, rather than going through a total matrix, because it's just duplicating the same stereo signal once, twice, third time, fourth, and so on. I think if you were to actually have another AVR, because it's not uncommon. I think other AVRs had a multi-channel stereo mode where it just duplicates the same sound. So it's kind of a bit of an old feature, but it's pretty handy. I think it's pretty funky. And if I want to, I'll just turn my height 1 off and turn my height number 3 off, and so it'd be just there in the middle, and it's still passing through the Matrix decoders, or Dolby SA10 in the kitchen.
The crow said it right, we could move out by dawn early.
Wow.
If the crow said it right, we could move out by dawn early.
Wow, that's cool. You know, I could be sat at the front and I would hear that slightly behind me. I could blend in a channel at the front and then balance the levels on the dtsx and sort of get the levels right. So the sound pressure level, and then it's really making sure you got the frequency and all that. So it's a little bit of a, you know, analyst of checking. But as that goes there, that's pretty cool.
Could it be right on?
Oh, that's good.
If the crow said it right,
Hang on, wait a sec.
right on. Too late or too early?
Too early?
Is it right on top?
In and right on time. And that's more or less coming out the middle. Up there, literally, on dog number 2. And when that effects processing is used at around about 58 seconds, it kind of whooshy, kind of, whoa, wow, what was that? Because I could put Vogue on and I would get that similar effect. I'm not sure what the processor thing is called, but you know, I could look it up. I could ask someone I know and say, what's this? Take a listen to this. What processor is that? You know? And then, you know, you could probably go and buy it as a hard sort of thing, you know, like an actual plug-in to plug in a rack system rather than a software plug-in, you know.
Could it be right on? If the crow said it right, we could move out by dawn early.
Well, anyway, that's enough of that. Go and have some fun. And remember, keep on THX listening. The audience is listening.